Ferrari, it is out in theaters right now. It is the newest Michael Mann movie that many people were a little too worried to go catch in cinemas just in case they got hit with a CGI car chase, CGI car explosion. I'm here to tell you, it was fake news. The CGI car explosions aren't that bad. There are 3 scenes in this movie. I'm going to give you one of them was a miniature. You could tell that it was like the in-time scene from like far away. It was a little car that they threw. The second one was, it did not look that CGI to me. Mm-hmm. The last one was full CGI, but Zach, it was for a reason. Ferrari is the newest movie by Michael Mann that's trying to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ferrari, and how he had like 2 lives going on at the same time. One where his wife, for whatever reason, was managing this business with him. They kind of explain it very fast in there. How she owns half of the Ferrari company, he owns the other half, and they're struggling to make it by because they're either going to need to sell with another company or continue winning races so that they could, have it be their way. That said, he's also dealing with his personal side where his wife lost a child. So now he's got Shailene Woodley doing, what kind of accent, Zach?
The Ferrari.
Yeah. You try to help for Super Mario Bros. She's in this movie, but she is the one lover who does have his child. Mm-hmm. So one carries his name, the business, but his child carries his blood. Yeah. You were mixed on it.
I was mixed on it because I think that a lot of the racing stuff is really riveting, and Michael Mann is a person who knows how to put together like a pretty stellar action sequence. So when the movie is really like moving, I thought it was pretty good. Those car crashes kind of took me out. I'm not as forgiving as you are with them. They just seemed really rubbery and weightless to me. But I feel like I'm in the minority of it because I've seen a lot of people critiquing the critique of those car crashes. So whatever, maybe it's not going to be everybody.
Hey, I'm gonna give you this. Maybe they fixed them. Maybe they marveled it.
Yeah, I saw the early cut.
You saw
something.
The early VFX with the floating head.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the interpersonal stuff where I just wasn't really bought into it. I think that Penelope Cruz is like always kind of radiant and worth watching, but she's sort of reduced to angry yelling in this movie and not much else. And then the other half of his interpersonal relationships is with Shailene Woodley, just like struggling her way through that Italian accent, never really having like an ounce of believability in the role. And there's also just the weird kind of like, I don't know, inability to kind of lock down who Ferrari is for me, because this is about a man in like the later stage of his life. This is about not a young Ferrari, but an older Ferrari like trying to grapple with his legacy. And they got like strapping Adam Driver with like a weird gray haircut. He never really sells his age correctly in this movie. Like they don't put a lot of makeup on him.
Not much.
He doesn't look like he's in his 60s. He looks like a 40-year-old guy who went gray early.
They zoom in on him in order to like really pay attention to like the hairline and all the makeup that they were doing with his face. But you zoom out far enough and you get the presence of how old he is right now. The moment you can't see the makeup, you're like, oh no, that's just regular Adam Driver. I agree with you on that end. I believe there were supposed to be sequences with him as flashbacks. Now, I don't know if those are right at the beginning of the movie.
Like the 30 seconds that opens the movie?
Right? Because
the only part he feels age appropriate. Yeah.
And they're showing like stills of the flashback scenes in this movie. I was like, was that during the opera scene? Like, I felt like it should have expanded a lot more on him. I agree with you. This is a movie in where you're focusing on Ferrari, and it feels like the Spark Notes. It's yet again another Napoleon. It feels like the trailer to the miniseries we're supposed to get. I keep feeling like these classic directors are turning in what should be a 5-hour project and are being asked to reduce it down to 2.5. Because I could have gotten more from the Shailene Woodley stuff, minus her accent, right? I still thought that stuff was kind of fascinating. He's dealing with his son. Is he going to be able to tell the world about him? Is he going to be able to continue to keep this a secret, especially financially, from his wife? I thought the stuff that's happening with his wife, Penelope playing her second Italian of this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Not terrible, though. Like, no one's got a critique on her accent. I think she does a decent job with it. I agree with you. Very depressing role. She's just kind of moping a majority of the movie because of where he's kept her. but I thought it led to an effective final scene. I thought that was an incredible final counteraction that they have with each other on how they're going to run the business, what they're going to do with it.
Yeah.
I liked his personal side, and I liked the racing. Both of them were cut in half that you don't get to fully enjoy either or.
Yeah.
I thought the ending came out of nowhere, and that's where I'm only defending the CGI use of the car crash. I immediately, I apologize, but I was in the theater. Nobody was sitting next to me. I pulled out my phone. I was like, ain't no way that happened. It is worse than what the movie tells you.
Yeah.
And the movie just flies by. So I'm out of the movie recounting things that I read, not recounting things that the movie told me.
Yeah, exactly. Like it also has sort of a weird structure to it in that it starts really like in the middle of things and it ends sort of just as a big moment happens without really giving you like a full off ramp.
Right?
And yeah, so it felt unsatisfying to me.
Yeah, it's like you're doing the race and like you made it to the next pit stop because your tire was about to fly off and you made it there and they fixed it. You can't end the movie there. What happens on the next one? Like, what are you going to do with the company? I'm seeing in the chat some people were comparing this to other Michael Mann movies. I would agree if I pull them up right here. Just comparing to his previous ones, I'm a huge Collateral fan. Like, huge Collateral fan, bro.
Abby's asking if anybody else thinks that Collateral is the best Michael Mann movie, not Heat. And I'm in that boat. Maybe it's just because we're younger than some people. Who like caught Heat at an earlier age than we did or whatever, but Collateral was the one for me. I love that movie.
I know people really like Black Cat, Ali, another decent one. He's working on Heat too, so we are going to have to do a Heat retrospective.
Also potentially with Adam Driver.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I didn't mind their work together, so I'd be curious to see what else they're able to do next. But other than that, another question we got over here was on comparing it to other racing movies.
Yeah, like Rush came out a few years ago. I'm trying to think, like Ford v Ferrari was obviously a couple years.
Rush takes the cake.
Interestingly,
the one.
Christian Bale, who was in Ford v Ferrari, was originally supposed to play Ferrari in this movie.
Ooh. Should have.
I like Ford v Ferrari. I think I like that one more than this one.
I'd edge it out by a bit, yeah. But that'd be a good double feature with this.
Yeah, and I like Rush a bit more as well.
Rush clears for me easily. Yeah. Where'd you put Gran Turismo?
You know what, man? I think Gran Turismo is better at what it's trying to do than this movie is at what it's trying to do. Even though this might be the more artful film. Gran Turismo might be more successful.
True. I can see that. Out on Netflix for Gran Turismo. Ferrari out in theaters, and I would give it the junior price. I still think it's worth capturing in theaters for the racing scenes. They're not the most profound racing scenes out there, in my opinion, but it very much is a movie that's trying to get into the psyche of Ferrari and what he does to his racers. Pretty much, he's a coach, really, when you look at it, right? It's mixing his businessman, his personality, but then at the same time, how he treats his racers. They're nothing but bodies to him. It's, are you going to do anything possible to win that race? A lot of elements that I like in this movie didn't excel completely for me, but I still thought it was a good movie. I'd catch it again soon.
Do you want to see it in the Oscars discussion? Because a lot of people thought it might be, and now it kind of looks like it's not going to
I'm
be.
okay with it. Not everything needs to be in the Oscars discussion.
Yeah.
But I'd rather this be what misses the Oscar discussion than something that doesn't even get, like, a mention at all. Like, like sometimes... like, it made the cusp of the Oscars discussion, not like, boy, what were you doing with this? Ferrari's not a bad movie, in my opinion. Seek it out at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could be a stream it for me, at least.